Types of angles and triangles, part 2. We can use AROR, which we talked about in our part 1, where A is acute angle, R is right angle, O is obtuse angle, and R is reflex angle. To name triangles, for instance, in number 1, acute angle triangle. Acute angle triangle will contain all the 3 angles less than 90 degrees. Remember, a triangle will have 3 angles and 3 straight lines. And so, when we say we have an acute angled triangle, it means that all the angles are acute. They are all less than 90 degrees. Number 2, right angle triangle. When we have a right angle triangle, it means that one of the angles is 90 degrees. It cannot be 90 degrees because we have 3 angles. So we cannot have 90 degrees in a triangle. So it must be that one of the angles is 90 degrees, whether it is facing up or facing down, provided we see the number 90 or we see the sign that shows that it is a perpendicular angle. So the angle we have here is 90, the angle we have here is 90. They are called right angle triangle because one of the angles is 90 degrees. Obtuse angle triangle, number 3. An obtuse angle triangle, we have one of the angles to be more than 90 degrees. As we have seen here, this one is 120 degrees. This is an example of obtuse angle triangle because it has an obtuse angle. Acute angle triangle has acute angle all through. Right angle triangle has 190 degrees, that is one right angle as one of the angles. And the obtuse angle triangle has only one obtuse angle. For example, 120 degrees as its angle. Remember, we cannot have number 4, reflex angle triangle, because a reflex angle is more than 180 degrees, whereas the sum of interior angle of a triangle is 180 degrees. So there is no way one of the angles of a triangle can become more than 180 degrees. We can only have acute angle triangle, right angle triangle, or obtuse angle triangle. That is when you use angles to call a triangle. We can use the sides to name a triangle. In that case, we can have number 4, using angles this time around. We have finished using angles. Using the sides this time around, we can have an equilateral triangle. That is when all the sides are equal. And remember, if all the sides are equal, all the angles will also be equal. 180 divided by 3, 60, 60, 60 becomes the angle there. Number 5, using sides again to name a triangle. We can have a situation where only 2 sides are equal. Assuming that this side is equal to this side, this mark shows that equality. And we call this base angle of isosceles triangle. Equilateral triangle, and this is isosceles triangle. And remember that isosceles triangles of the triangle, as the base angle of the isosceles triangle are equal. So, number 6, we now have angles that all the lines are not equal. None of the lines, none of the sides is equal to the other. And that is called scalene triangle, for instance. If we have this, for instance, if this could be the longest side, followed by this, and now here. This has showed us that none of the sides are equal. Single, the same lines shows you all the sides are equal. The same line only on two lines of the triangle shows us that only the two sides are equal. And different strokes on the lines of triangle shows us that there is no side that is equal to the other, and it's called scalene triangle. Let us continue in our next class, but remember to subscribe, like, and share.